Good morning, spaceman. Welcome to Space Operations Delta. I'm Captain Collins, and we're back to Cradle of Humanity. Today, we're going to talk about all the new sectors in the Terran territory and all the others, how they are connected, what is special to them, and how to play with them. First of all, a quick shout out to all my new spacemen on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Jonathan M, Derek R, and Peter E. Thank you for joining Space Operations Delta as a spaceman. And of course, before we start, that's still a pre-released beta version, so there are things that can be changed, but the game will release on March 16th, 2021, and you can pre-order it already on GOG and Steam. So let's jump right into it and start with the first sector, and this is Earth. What is special about Earth? The first thing that's special about Earth is sunlight 100%. Earth is the standard for the sunlight output that you have in the solar system. Maybe you're asking yourself, why do I talk about the sunlight now? Because in solar system, there are some different things going on. Like, for example, the sunlight is different in every single sector. And Earth, like I said, is the standard of what is calculated. Before we dive into each sector, let's have a look around. You know Earth, how it looks like. There's the sun. And we also have a look at the moon right there. And everything else is basically just space. Earth itself sits in the solar system. The solar system has got 13 entries, and you can see all the star system information in here if you scroll down. There you can also get the information about the moons of the planets. Let's take a look at Earth itself. Earth itself has got, well, like I said, 100% sunlight. Known stations are 7. That's the starting stations we start with. And the main production is pharmaceutical goods. And maybe you're starting to wonder, what other resources are there in Earth sector? Well, there are none. There are no other resources than sunlight in this sector. If you want to build something in Earth sector, you need to provide the Earth sector with goods. Next stop on our way through the solar system is our own moon. Our moon is part of the Earth system and is connected through a superhighway, which makes it really cool, because if you take the superhighway to Earth, you see that Earth becomes bigger. Let's take a look at how that works. After we saw a little bit about moon system. So this is the Earth system. Earth and moon are connected with a superhighway, and the moon itself is the same as Earth. You have 100% sunlight. It's basically the same distance as Earth itself. No other resources. You can't even take the moon in consideration in here to get something from the moon, like mining at the moon or something. That doesn't work in X4. But let's take a look together at the superhighway, how that looks like. Here we go through the superhighway and take a look at Earth becoming bigger while we fly there. You see Earth is coming closer, and that's a very nice view if you ask me. And we're back to Earth. Now we're starting from the closest planet at the sun and going back out of the solar system. You know that there are 13 sectors. We already saw 2, and now we're in Mercury. This is how Mercury looks like. You could have said that this looks like a moon, but of course, it is the planet that's the closest to the sun. Mercury is a gas region, and therefore it has got at least some materials. And the materials are helium. So you can get helium in Mercury system, but what's even more important, take a look at the sunlight. 680% sunlight. This is your go-to spot if you need energy cells in your entire production line. Maybe for the first time ever, you are dependent on where to set up your stations. And let's talk at the end on how to utilize that. Welcome to Venus. I would like to show you these planets on the big screen here, but I can't because these planets are just too big. You can see the atmosphere from Venus and the sun right there. And in this system, you are still close to the sun, not as close like in Mercury, but still close enough to have a better solar performance. Venus, again, a system without other resources than just sunlight. Sunlight at 190%, so still better than having it on Earth or somewhere else, but of course not as good as Mercury and just one single jump away. So it is to consider to build energy cells exclusively in Mercury. That's a rhyme, so it's true, right? And to make it fast to the next planet, of course, we're leaving Earth now in between. And the next one is Mars. Mars, as you know, the planet, the sun, of course, and nothing else in here. With Mars, we're already further away from the sun than with Earth. The sunlight tells the story because we have just 44% the yield from sunlight. Again, no other resources in this sector. And here we are in the last system, which I would call the inner ring. That's the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is looking like that if you take a look around. So hey, we got our first asteroids and we got our first resources in here. Other than that, the asteroid belt looks very scarce. Nothing else there than just our stations and just this shimmering belt around us. But hooray, we got here everything that we need for the inner sphere. We finally got helium, hydrogen, ice, methane, nevidium even, ore, and silicon. Everything is there that you need. The only thing that you're missing, of course, sunlight. 13% sunlight. That is not too much. Now you need to take Mercury. You need to take the asteroid belt and find a place in between where you can utilize your station really good. Or you do all the stuff that's necessary for all the metals in there. You take all the energy cells from Mercury and then combine it at the stations you need. Or even better, how about building a trading station finally as a distribution hub? So you set up a station just with some storages. You take some traders and tell them, get all the stuff from the asteroid belt, bring it to the trading station, and let that order repeat. Version 4.0, repeat orders. And from the trading hub, every other station can just pick their wares that they need to produce every other stuff. And since we saw the inner belt already, there is an overview how that looks like and how the connections are. You have Mercury, which is connected to Venus, Venus to the moon. Earth is a little bit separate. Mars is connected only to Venus, and the asteroid belt is connected to Mars. So if you're going from Earth and you want to take something from the asteroid belt, well, the jump to the moon doesn't count, but it is 1, 2, 3 jumps away to the asteroid belt from the Earth. And we're talking here about the level that your managers need to get the wares from the asteroid belt back to your station. So you need a 3-star manager. We're starting our journey into the outer ring, and the journey starts at Jupiter. Jupiter, our big gas giant in our solar system, is far away from the sun already, and you see that there is not really anything else in this system. Jupiter, again, very empty, even emptier than the inner sectors, with just 3% sunlight hitting that sector. Very good sector if you want to be on your own. From Jupiter, we jump into the sector of Saturn with his rings, and the Saturn sector looks very nice with all these rings around. Although there's nothing else really in this sector, but you can see there is something hidden there. And we will take a closer look in a second what that is. Short look at Saturn's stats, 1% sunlight. nothing else. Here we got the second and last moon in this system, Titan. Titan is Saturn's moon, and it's basically the same as with Earth. You have got the superhighways that will bring you very fast to Saturn or to Titan. Titan is a little bit special because Titan is a gas region. Titan has got the same sunlight yield as Saturn with 1%, but you have hydrogen and methane in this system. Nothing else, nothing more to talk about. YouTube, please, this is just a planet's name, but we're in Uranus. And well, this system is just the planet itself, but did you know that this planet has rings like Saturn? Well, there's nothing else in this sector. This sector is again pretty empty at the moment. Only thing that you got, sunlight, and not even a considerable amount of sunlight. We're talking about 0.2%. Very, very low on anything in this sector. Next stop on our journey is Neptune. Neptune, the blue planet, also with some slight rings. And maybe you can already distinguish it in the galaxy. There are some clouds because Neptune is a gas region. Neptune comes with a sunlight yield of 0.1%. Almost no sunlight, but therefore you got helium and hydrogen, so yay, thank you for that. And thank you Egosoft for still considering that as a planet. This is Pluto. Pluto, our planet, or like other scientists already say, a dwarf planet. That's one of the last objects we have in Solar System. There are some more further out there. If you're interested in that, then search for it. Very interesting. But other than Pluto, there is nothing else in this system. Maybe you will see in Pluto's system that there's another planet in a distance there. This is Charon. Charon is spinning around with Pluto. Pluto itself is also a little bit spinning, and Charon is spinning around Pluto. Very interesting. And with Pluto, we come into a sunlight yield that is absurd. We have 0.06% of sunlight that we can get. If we put a solar panel in this system, you get the equivalent of 1 to 60,000 the amount of energy cells in this system as in Earth. No other resources, absolutely nothing. And here we are, far, far away from the sun, in a region which is almost absolutely dark. But hey, you got resources. Welcome to the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is the resource belt outside in the outer ring. And here you have the stats of the Oort cloud. Of course, we're talking almost no sunlight. You could say 0% sunlight. This number is not really useful. But hey, you got helium, hydrogen, ice, methane, nevidium, a teeny tiny bit nevidium, ore and silicon. If you are working in the outer ring, so outside of the asteroid belt, then the Oort cloud is your factory. Or at least it's the mine for everything else that you have built in the other systems. Since we're now in the outer ring, that's how they are connected with. You got Jupiter, which has got a connection to the asteroid belt. From Jupiter to Saturn, Saturn is connected with Titan and Uranus. Then to Neptune, Neptune to Pluto, and Pluto to the Oort cloud. And Oort cloud is a dead end. You can't get more far away from the sun than the Oort cloud. But Solar System is not everything. Welcome to Brennan's Triumph. Brennan's Triumph is the first sector of Sagari's Pioneers. And we will have a look at the factions, the new factions, tomorrow. Not yet, but I tell you now, this belongs to Sagari's Pioneers. Brennan's Triumph does look like that on this side and like that on the other. a very huge nebula there. And these Sagari Pioneer sectors are a little bit better than the Terran sectors because you do have high resources and all of them are not far away from each other. Brennan's Triumph here starts with only sunlight, but in this region of the universe, you are absolutely grateful for every single sunlight you can get. And so here you go, 121% sunlight compared to Earth sector. And from this point on, it's just beautiful. We are inside of the nebula that you just have seen. And this is a mixed resource region, and you can get everything from here. Look at these beautiful colors. They did an awesome job with the volumetric fog in here. This sector is called Gaian Prophecy. And in Gaian Prophecy, you get a lot of resources already. You have 186% sunlight. You have helium, hydrogen, methane, ore, and silicon in here. Basically all you need. And welcome to the main sector of the Sagari Pioneers, which is called Sagari. This here is Sagari. It looks amazing. Like I said, the volumetric fog is amazing in here. But you are at the edge of that nebula. You're still getting a lot of sunlight and a beautiful, amazing station, which is the main station of the Sagari people. Sagari, again, a sector with everything in there. 186% sunlight, helium, hydrogen, methane, ore, silicon. Everything you need except for Nevidium, but who cares? But the question that everyone has is, how are these sectors connected with all the other sectors in the X universe? Let's go into the map for an overview. Here we start from the Sagari sector, going outside, and you can see where all the sectors are connected to. You have the three sectors that we just talked about down here, which are from the Sagari Pioneers. The Sagari Pioneers are connected to Antigone Memorial right there, and the asteroid belt is connected to Getsufune. You do have the connection to almost the inner systems of the Argons, which is from Sagari just 1, 2, 3, and 4 jumps away to Argon Prime. But you don't really like the Argons as a Terran. And we want to talk about that tomorrow. But before we do that, let's have a closer look on the solar cells. Now you maybe understand why I did not show you the solar panels just with the other wares in the last video, because the solar panels are a different thing here. You need to consider the sunlight yields in every single sector. And right now we're back at Mercury, which will give you the most out of your energy cells. And here we are in the logical overview of the solar cells. You see that there is a sunlight yield of 680%, a little bit additionally to the workforce, and there are the production cycles, which are very fast. You see 183,000 energy cells an hour, which you can distribute from this sector into your complete system. And that is one single Terran energy cell production. Quick note on the Terran solar cell production, they don't have turrets like the normal solar cell production from the other factions. And with the most awesome view, we leave these sectors for now, and we will talk about the factions and the starts and a little bit of story, just the foundation, so what you can expect for stories tomorrow. And that will be the last video before we start live streaming X4 Cradle of Humanity on twitch.tv/CaptainCollins at March 11th, 2 p.m. Central European time. We will start to stream this game live. Thank you for my YouTube members. Thank you for watching, and we'll see us again tomorrow. Bye.